Modern Horizons 2 had a massive impact on the modern format. One of the more powerful cards after the release was Asmo, which is a 0 mana creature that says as long as you have discarded a card this turn, you may pay 1 red or black to cast the spell. When Asmo enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a card named the Underworld Cookbook, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Sacrifice 2 foods, target creature deals 6 damage to itself. And you might be wondering what the Underworld Cookbook is because Asmo finds it. This is a 1 mana artifact that says tap, discard a card, create a food. Pay 4, tap, sacrifice the Underworld Cookbook, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And when looking at face value, discarding a card to make a food is not a great deal. And you might be wondering why this deck was so powerful. This is because of the card Oval Chase Daredevil. The mana cost and power don't matter, but it says when an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Oval Chase Daredevil from your graveyard to your hand. Which means that when you discard this to the Underworld Cookbook and create a food, you get this card back in your hand, essentially not even discarding a card. So in today's video, we're going to be taking Time Sieve and Academy Manufacturer to combo off and take infinite turns. The way this works is if you have 1 Academy Manufacturer and 2 Underworld Cookbooks, or the other way around, you can make more than 5 artifacts a turn, which means that you can activate Time Sieve, which says tap, sacrifice 5 artifacts, take an extra turn after this one. This means that we can take infinite turns and win the game. And the cool thing about Academy Manufacturer is that these cards stack, which means that if you have 1 on the battlefield, when you make a food token, you get 3 tokens, but when you have 2, you make 9, and when you have 3, you have 27, and so on. So we're going to be taking this sweet combo deck through a League of Modern to see how powerful this combo truly is. Match 1, we're on the play, and hand's just missing too many things, so we get them all. Our 6 is also just too weak, and our 5 looks perfectly fine. We'll put back a Daredevil and a Blood Fountain. We'll go turn 1 Cookbook. Opponent plays turn 1 Tower into a map. On the end step, we'll activate Cookbook, doing the Daredevil loop. We draw a Goose, so we have nothing to do. Opponent plays a Power Plant and cracks map immediately, revealing a mine. And then on the end step, we make a food. We draw a Darkslick Shore, so we'll cast out Deadly Dispute, sacking a food, find it in an Asmo. So activate Cookbook, discarding Daredevil, and then cast our Asmo, picking up another Cookbook. Opponent plays a mine into a Ugin, then casts 2 spheres for 3 and kills our Asmo, then cycles both the spheres, plays out a map, and passes back to us. We top deck as Time Sieve, Shock and a Tomb, cast out our Manufacturer, discard Daredevil, making a bunch of artifacts, then we'll cast out another Cookbook, discard Daredevil, making 3 more artifacts, getting back Daredevil, and then cast out a Guild Goose. And if we get to untap next turn, we do win. Opponent plays out a tower into a card, no! And an Ugin, oof, taking up, killing our Manufacturer. And at this point, we have no way of winning the game, so we're just going to concede and get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out all the unearths for Pithy Needle, Unmoored Ego, Bone Shards, and a Damping Sphere. Game 2, our 7 looks fine. We'll lead on turn 1 Marsh into a Blood Fountain. Opponent goes Mine into a Star. We draw a Manufacturer for turn. We'll play out a Saga and pass back. They crack a Star for green, play a Forest into a Sylvan Scrying, revealing a Tower. On the end step, we'll cast a Deadly Dispute, getting rid of the blood, drawing land and a Goose. We draw another Saga, so we'll play out Saga, cast a Manufacturer, then cast a Guild Goose. Opponent plays Tower into a Sphere, cracks it for green, then cast a Warping Whale, exiling our Academy Manufacturer, top deck a land, we'll float a mana off the Saga, then we'll crack the Clue, find a Damping Sphere, we'll play our Swamp and plan on activating Saga this turn. Opponent plays out a Karn, in response we'll activate Cookbook, and then activate our Saga, making a 5/5. They tick up, killing our treasure. We untap, drawing a land, we'll make another construct, and grab a Cookbook. We will kill the Karn, shock and water your grave, and then cast out our Damping Sphere. Opponent casts out No Stone, and misses the land drop. On the end step, we'll activate both Cookbooks, and opponent scoops them up before we untap. Let's get into game 3. Game 3, our starter's a little slow, but I'm going to keep. Opponent goes turn 1 Mine into a map. We draw a Steel Seeker. We'll go turn 1 Swamp into a Blood Fountain. And opponent has Tron. We draw a Dispute for turn. We gotta cycle away the Daredevil. We find a land. We'll fetch Shock for a Tomb and cast out our Asmo, picking up a Cookbook. Opponent plays a Tower into a Haywire Mite, then plays a Sphere and a Relic. They make a green off of Sphere and kill our Blood Fountain and cast out an O-Stone. We top deck a Manufacturer, play out a Blood Fountain, picking up our Oval Chase. We're gonna cycle away our Oval Chase, hoping to find a land. And we do, we find a Saga. We'll play Saga and run out our Cookbook, picking up Daredevil again. We'll activate it now to play around Relic. Attacking for 3 and pass back. Opponent pops a Relic and then blows up their O-Stone. We draw a Gilded Goose for turn. We'll play out a Goose and pass back. They play a Mine into a Karn. They tick up targeting our food. In response, we'll Deadly Dispute, finding Urborg and a Gilded Goose. Untap, drawing a Cookbook. We'll activate Saga, grabbing Pithy Needle, naming Karn. We'll play an Urborg and a Cookbook out. On our end step, they wilt down our Pithy Needle. Opponent plays out a map and searches for a land, grabbing grabbing Blast Zone. They blow up Blast Zone, killing our Goose and our Underworld Cookbook. Then grab a Filigree Silex, and they pop it, destroying our entire board. We draw a Blooming Marsh for turn, play a Blooming Marsh into a Guild Goose, holding up Deadly Dispute. They tick up Karn, killing our food. And on the end step, we will Deadly Dispute away the Goose, drawing 2 more lands. Find another Goose for turn. We'll play out a Steel Seeker into a Goose, triggering Steel Seeker, and we'll bin the Daredevil. Play out our tap Blooming Marsh and pass back. Opponent down ticks a Karn and finds a Ballista, and they play out a 7/7 Ballista, killing our Steel Seeker and our Gilded Goose. We top deck a Cookbook, we'll buy Gigantha, play a land, and play out our Manufacturer, picking up our Daredevil. Opponent plays a Forest into a Star, cycling for a green, down ticking Karn, grabbing Liquid Metal Coating. Then they run out another Karn. Then they pump up the Ballista twice, kill our Manufacturer. At this point, we can get on to match number 2. Match 2, we're on the play, and we got a turn 2 Manufacturer, so we got to keep. We'll go turn 1 Fetch Shock and play out a Goose. And opponent goes turn 1 Mesa. We top deck a Saga, we'll play that out into our Manufacturer, which resolves. Opponent goes turn 2 Wooded Foothills. We top deck a Daredevil, and we'll hold up everything here, attacking in for 1. And on our end step, they bolt the Manufacturer, and we'll let that resolve. Opponent plays out another Foothills and passes. On the end step, we make a Construct. We top deck another Manufacturer, so we'll float a mana, grab a Cookbook, fetch out a basic Swamp, lead on unearthing our Manufacturer, then play out our second Manufacturer, and they have a Leyline Binding, so sad, killing our Construct and not our Manufacturer. And they have another Leyline Binding, taking out our Cookbook. So in response, we'll activate Cookbook tokens and then buying back our Oval Chase. Then the second Manufacturer resolves. Opponent plays a Mesa into a Rin, taking up, buying back a Wooded Foothills. Oh my god, we draw a Cookbook. Oh my, we're gonna go crazy. We play out a Cookbook, activate Cookbook, getting a bunch of treasures and tokens. Oh my goodness. Now we'll Deadly Dispute, sacking a food token, drawing another Cookbook. So we'll play out a Cookbook, activate Cookbook again, discarding Daredevil. All the triggers. We'll crack a clue, drawing a card, drawing another Daredevil, and we'll do that again. Drawing a Goose, so we can play that out. Make a bunch more tokens. Oh yes. We'll crack another clue, drawing another Manufacturer. Activate a Goose, making a food, which gets us more tokens. Oh my goodness. We'll crack another clue, drawing an Asmo. We'll play out our Asmo, grabbing another Cookbook, discarding an Oval Chase, and getting even more tokens. And we have a few Oval Chase triggers. We'll crack another clue, finding Saga, and opponent just scoops them up there. What a crazy turn. For sideboarding, we're going to bring in a Pithy Needle and Unmoored Ego for Unearth and a Blood Fountain. Game 2, our start is just a little too slow. Our 6 looks much better. We'll put back a Time Sieve. Opponent goes Bloodstained Mire. We draw another Unearth, so we'll lead on Verdant. Opponent shocks in a Sacred Foundry. We draw a Swamp for turn. We'll play that and plan on cycling an Unearth. Opponent plays a Mesa and passes. We cycle an Unearth, finding a Blood Fountain. Then we top deck a Saga, so we'll play Saga out and cast Unmoored Ego. We'll name Archon of Cruelty. And looking at their deck, they have no more big creatures, so this turns off a lot of their deck. Opponent plays a Dwarven Mine out, then Besages our Urza Saga. Top deck a Blooming Marsh. We'll play out Blood Fountain, cycle away our Daredevil, drawing a Grave, and then we'll cast out Asmo, taking up a Cookbook, then we'll play out our Blooming Marsh, passing back, and opponent scoops them up. Let's get into match number 3. Match 3, we're on the play with a Snapper. We'll lead on Darkslook Shores into a Cookbook. Opponent leads on a Plains into a Prismatic Ending on our Cookbook. We draw another Cookbook. We'll play Saga, activate Cookbook, discarding Daredevil, and then cast out our Asmo, picking up another Cookbook. They shock in a Steam Vents and cast out a Stoneforge, grabbing a Cauldron complete. We top deck another Asmo. We'll play Swamp, activate Cookbook, discarding Daredevil, and then kill the Stoneforge Mystic with Asmo, and then attack in for 3. Planning on making a Construct this turn. Opponent cast another Stoneforge Mystic, grabbing a Batter Skull and missing their land drop. So we'll make out a Construct, top deck a Blood Fountain, and we'll make another Construct. And Saga will grab a Cookbook. We'll attack in with Construct and Asmo. No blocks from the opponent, so we'll activate both Cookbooks. Opponent takes 9 damage. And with the 2 foods we made, we'll kill the Stoneforge. And opponent scoops them up. Let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to bring in 2 Push and Haywire Might, trimming on Deadly Disputes and Time Sieves. Game 2, our hand's a little weird, but going to keep. Opponent goes turn 1 Ragavan. We draw Saga. We'll play our Urborg and Fatal Push. Opponent plays an island and passes. We're on our Haywire Might into an Urza Saga. Opponent casts a Wear Tear, killing our Urza Saga and our Haywire Might. We top deck another Unearth. We'll play Swamp and pass. They play Scalding Tarn on the end step. We'll cycle our Unearth, finding a Watery Grave. We draw a Green Source for turn. We'll play that. Opponent plays a Plains, and we'll fetch on the end step. We top deck a Cookbook. We'll buy Gigantha and play a tapped Grave. Opponent plays a Mountain and passes. We top deck a Manufacturer, so we'll play Cookbook into Manufacturer. Playing out another tapped Watery Grave and passing. Opponent casts a Shattering Spree, replicating it. In response, we'll activate Cookbook, discarding a Swamp, getting a Clue, a Treasure, and a Food. They play a Strand and pass. We find another land for turn. We'll crack our Clue, draw in a land, so we'll shock in our tomb and cast out Gigantha. Opponent plays an island into a Batter Skull. We top deck an Unearth. We will cycle an Unearth, finding a Daredevil. We'll lead on an attack with Jogantha. Opponent goes down to 10, and then we'll cast out our Daredevil. Opponent cast out a Fury, killing our Daredevil, and they attack in for 4. We find a Steel Seeker into a Time Sieve, triggering Daredevil and Steel Seeker. We see a Manufacturer on top, and I don't think that's good at this point. And we'll put Daredevil in our hand, holding back Jogantha. When it goes to combat, attacking with Fury, we'll block with Jogantha, and the trade happens. Then they run out of Ragavan. We untap, finding a Cookbook. We'll play that, triggering Steel Seeker, putting a Haywire Mite in the yard. Then we unearth a Manufacturer. In response, they wear our Underworld Cookbook. In response, we'll activate Cookbook, picking up our other Manufacturer. Steel Seeker again triggers, and we'll keep the Steel Seeker on top. They add a Polluted Delta and pass the opponent. Opponent cast an EI, exiling another EI. They cast this one from exile, putting an Unholy Heat in exile, and they use that to kill our Manufacturer. They attack him with both. We will trade, then cast a Nahiri the Unforgiving, taking up and looting away a Floodstrand. We'll play out our Steel Seeker, then play out our Manufacturer, and we'll keep a Gilded Goose on top. Opponent casts an EI, exiling a Prismatic Ending, exiling our Manufacturer, then they attack in for 4, then cast out another Stoneforge, revealing a Cauldron, and at this point we are just dead. So let's get on to game number 3. For game 3, we'll bring in Pithy Needle for another Time Sieve. Game 3, our starter looks fine. We'll lead on turn 1 Marsh into a Haywire Mite. Opponent leads on turn 1 Triumph. We draw a Steel Seeker. We'll play one of them out and pass back to the opponent. They play an island and 2 Stoneforge, revealing Cauldron. We top deck up a Seiju. We'll shock in a Tomb, cast a Manufacturer, putting an Urborg in our hands. Opponent shocks in the Sacred Foundry and plays out a Teferi, bouncing our Academy Manufacturer. We top deck a Daredevil. We'll play out Manufacturer again, triggering the Steel Seeker, and we're going to bin a Manufacturer. Play out our Urborg and pass the opponent. Opponent plays a Strand and ticks up Teferi. Opponent casts a Shattering Spree, killing our Manufacturer and Haywire Mite. Haywire Mite triggers and we go up to 20. We draw an Unearth return, so we'll play out another Steel Seeker and unearth our Manufacturer, triggering Steel Seekers, and we'll put a Blood Fountain in the yard, and we'll keep a Cookbook on top. Play out our Burn and pass. On our Incept, they fetch a Plains and play out a Cauldron. Opponent ticks up Teferi and attacks in for 5. We draw our Cookbook for turn, we slam it. Resolves, triggering both Steel Seekers. Put a Swamp in hand, put a Watergrave in hand, activate Cookbook, discarding Daredevil, and in response, they Petty Theft our Manufacturer. Both Steel Seekers trigger, and so does Daredevil. We put a Saga into hand, and we'll bin a Pithy Needle, return Daredevil to hand, play a Saga, play out a Manufacturer, triggering both Steel Seekers. We'll bin a Gilded Goose, and we'll put a Swamp into hand, and we'll attack Teferi with both of our Steel Seekers, and they activate Stoneforge, putting Batterskull, so we will Beseiju that, and Teferi goes to 1. Opponent casts an EI, opponent exiles a Brotherhood's Inn, and we will not block. Then they cast a Brotherhood's Inn, killing all artifacts with mana value 3 or less, and play out a Steam Vents. We draw a Goose for turn. We'll play out our Gilded Goose. Food triggers both the Steel Seekers. We'll bin a Haywire Mite, and we will keep a Underworld Cookbook on top, and we'll go to combat, killing Teferi, and we'll hold up Food activation and Saga activation. I'm going to cast a Wear Tear, killing our Saga. In response, we'll activate it. And in response, make a Construct and put 2 Oval Chases in the yard. They cast out a Nahiri, they draw a card, and then discard a card, pitching a Stoneforge, and no attacks for the opponent. On the end step, we'll fetch out a Watery Grave, and then crack the food, going up to a solid 12. We top deck a Blood Fountain, great draw. Play that out, triggering both Daredevils, both Steel Seekers. We put both Daredevils back into hand, see an Asmo on top, and we bin that, and unearth on top. I think that's a good one, so we'll keep it. Then we'll run out Oval Chase, then play a Swamp. I'm going to cast a Supreme Verdict, so we'll make a food with the Goose, triggering Steel Seekers. We'll keep Asmo on top twice. Then opponent dashes a Ragavan, then gets back a Batterskull with Nahiri, and we're down to 7. We top deck a Time Sieve for turn. We're going to cycle away a Daredevil, finding a Goose, so we'll play Goose. Find back 2 Daredevils, then we'll play a tapped Watery Grave and pass the opponent. Opponent ticks up Nahiri, looting, discard another Stoneforge, cast out a Teferi, bouncing our Gilded Goose, dashes out a Ragavan. They attack him with both, so we'll crack a food, then go down to 1. Opponent exiles a Cookbook off our top. On the end step, we'll crack another food. We top deck a Saga. We'll activate Blood Fountain, picking up Haywire Mite and Academy Manufacturer. Play a Haywire Mite for turn off of our Saga, then cast our Gilded Goose and pass back to the opponent. Opponent evokes out a Fury, killing Goose and Haywire Mite, so we will kill their Cauldron, sacrificing Haywire Mite and gaining 2 life, going up to 6. Opponent activates Nahiri, getting back a Fury, then attacks in for 6, so we'll activate our food, going up to 9. Then opponent passes back. We draw another Haywire Mite, play that for turn, play out a Daredevil, and hold up Saga and our Haywire Mite. Plays out another Teferi, bouncing our Haywire Mite, activating Nahiri, getting back Stoneforge, then Unholy Heats our Daredevil, dashes out a Ragavan. We'll activate Saga to try and block, bringing back a Daredevil, and opponent has a Fire Ice. Oh no, and they just got us. So let's get into match number 4. Match 4, we're on the play, but have no black sources, so we got them all. Our 6 is a no-lander, so we're going down to 5. Our 5 looks quite good. We'll put back Deadly Dispute. We'll lead on turn 1, tap Tomb. game. Opponent goes turn 1 Watery Grave into a Ruon Crab. We top deck an Unearth, play out a Saga, and pass. Opponent plays the fetch, triggering Ruon Crab, milling over Cookbook and Manufacture. They fetch Shock, milling us for another 3. We untap, drawing a Daredevil. We'll cast out an Unearth on our Manufacture. That resolves and we'll pass. Opponent plays out a Field Rune, then cast a Glimpse the Unthinkable, milling us for another 10. Untap, drawing a Time Sieve. We'll float a mana off a Saga, grabbing an Underworld Cookbook. Activate a Cookbook, discarding Daredevil. And with our tokens, we'll cast out another Manufacture. Opponent untaps and casts a Tasha's Hideous Laughter, exiling 21 cards. We top deck a Watery Grave, we'll activate Cookbook, discarding Doval Chase. And now we will have infinite turns. As you can see, we resolve 3 Manufactures with a Cookbook, and this just goes absolutely crazy. We easily win this game, taking infinite turns and eventually attacking the opponent down for lethal. Let's get into sideboarding. For sideboarding, we're just going to add an Emrakul. For game 2, our starter looks fine. Opponent goes turn 1 Shelldock Isle. We top deck an Urza's Saga. Going to lead on Darkslick Shore into a Cookbook. Opponent plays out a Ruon Crab into a Delta, milling over a Time Sieve, Urborg, and an Asmo. They mill us again, going over Manufacture, Deadly Dispute, and a Saga. We top deck a Time Sieve for turn. We'll lead on an Unearth on our Manufacture. Activate Cookbook, discarding a Deadly Dispute, then casting out a Gilded Goose into a Blood Fountain and an Urza's Saga. Untaps and shocks in a Watery Grave, notably milling over a Oval Chase. We top deck a Blood Fountain. We'll activate Cookbook, discarding the Steel Seeker, getting back our Oval Chase. Then we'll cast our Time Sieve, but they have a Drown and Lock, so we'll cycle away our Oval Chase, top decking another Cookbook, and we can play that out by sacrificing a food with Gilded Goose. We return our Daredevil, activate it again, and then we'll pass back to the opponent. Opponent plays out a Field of Ruin, milling us, then cast out a Visions of Beyond, drawing 3, and they cast a Tasha's Hideous Laughter, exiling 20 cards. We draw a Blooming Marsh return, we'll float a mana off a Saga, grabbing a Cookbook, getting back at Oval Chase. We'll play out Blooming Marsh for turn, activate Blood Fountain, getting back 2 Manufactures, make a green off of our Gilded Goose, activate Oval Chase, activating Cookbook again, discarding another Oval Chase, then we'll cast out another Manufacture, activate our 3rd Cookbook, discarding Oval Chase, and then we'll cast out our last Manufacture. Opponent plays out a Glimpse, milling 10, but we have Emrakul. Then opponent cycles a Fractured Sanity. And with our opponent tapped out in 3 Manufactures and multiple Cookbooks, we get to go absolutely crazy here. We end up trying to find our Emrakul. We end up casting an Emrakul and getting the perfect victory with an Emrakul, which is just absolutely amazing. Did not expect that in this league. Let's get into match number 5. Match 5, we're on the play, and hand looks fine. We'll lead on turn 1 Gilded Goose. Opponent goes turn 1 Mountain into a Goblin Guide, giving us an Urza's Saga, and we will not block. We top deck a Manufacture. We'll play out our Urza's Saga, cast a Blood Fountain, discard a Swamp off of our Blood token, and then cast our Asmo, grabbing an Underworld Cookbook. Opponent plays a Mountain into a Mog War Marshal. We top deck another Unearth. We'll play out an Urborg and slam our Manufacture. On the upkeep, they don't pay for Mog War Marshal, and they pass back doing nothing. We'll float a mana off a Saga, grabbing a Cookbook, play out our other Cookbook, activating one of them, discarding an Unearth. We'll crack a Clue, drawing a card, finding a Daredevil. Wow, that was such a lucky top deck. And we'll shock in a Watery Grave and cast a Blood Fountain, and then we'll pass our turn. They play a Mountain into a Runefeld Hordemaster and cast out another Goblin Guide. They attack in with both Goblin Guides, revealing a Steel Seeker on top, and we won't even block. Untap, playing out our Steel Seeker, activating a Cookbook, triggering Steel Seeker 3 times and getting back our Daredevil. We'll put Beseiju in our hand, Manufacture into the grave, and Polluted Delta into our hand, triggering Steel Seeker, activating Cookbook, discarding Daredevil, getting a few triggers. We'll return Daredevil, and at this point we're just looking for a Time Sieve. We don't end up finding a Time Sieve in our top few cards, so activate our Blood, looting away land, find another Daredevil, so we'll just play out our Swamp and pass the opponent. And opponent scoops him up. Let's get on to sideboarding. And we're not going to add anything to the deck, so we'll just run it back. Game 2, our starter is a little too slow. Our 6 is much better. We'll put back Time Sieve. Opponent goes turn 1 Mountain. We'll go turn 1 Goose. Manufacture was a great top deck. Opponent goes turn 2 Mountain into a Krenko's Command. We top deck a Cookbook. We'll play Saga into an Academy Manufacture. Opponent plays land into bolting our Manufacture into a Runeveld. We draw a Blood Fountain for turn, so we'll play Beseiju and just hold up a Saga activation. Opponent goes land into a Chieftain, attacking us for 11 damage. On the end step, we'll make a Saga token. Then we top deck an Unearth, so we'll float a mana off a Saga, grab a Cookbook for turn, play out Unearth on our Manufacture, play out another Cookbook, activating one, discarding a Blood Fountain, and they bolt our Manufacture in response, so we'll activate the other Cookbook, discarding another Blood Fountain. And with Bolt still on the stack, we will cast our Deadly Dispute, sacking a Clue and drawing 2. We top deck another Manufacture, so we'll let this resolve, make another food, play land, and pass the opponent. Opponent plays out another Chieftain, and that's just going to be lethal. Let's get on to game number 3. For game 3, we'll bring in Bone Shards, 2 Fatal Push, and a Vengeful Pharaoh for 2 Time Sieves, Deadly Dispute, and a Steel Seeker. Game 3, our starter looks amazing. We'll lead on turn 1 Blooming Marsh into a Gilded Goose. Opponent goes turn 1 Mountain. We top deck a Manufacturer. We'll play Saga into another Goose. Opponent plays a Mountain into a Mog War Marshal. We top deck an Unearth. We'll shock in a Grave and play on activating Saga. Opponent does not pay for the Echo. And they play a land into Blood Moon. So we will activate Saga in response, making a 3/3. We top deck an Asmo for turn. So we're going to cycle our Unearth, top decking Daredevil, and then cast our Asmo, getting an Underworld Cookbook, and then we will cast that. Activating right away, discarding Daredevil, and getting it back for free. I'm going to place a Mountain into bolting the Asmo, then cast a Krenko's Command, making 2/1/1 goblins, and Goblin Grenading our Construct down. Pretty sweet turn from the opponent. They attack and we'll block 1, going down to 17. Untap, drawing a land, we'll cast out our Manufacturer, activate Cookbook, getting 3 tokens, and then we'll play out our Verdant and pass back. When it goes to bolt the Manufacturer, in response we'll make a food with a goose, and then the bolt resolves. They attack us down to 14. We draw another land for turn, we'll play that out, finding a Blood Fountain, we'll play that for turn, and pass back to the opponent, planning on activating Blood Fountain on the end step. When it goes to combat, attacks in, we'll block with both of our gooses, going down to 13. Then they Goblin Grenade a goose, and cast another Blood Moon. And on the end step, we activate Blood Fountain, getting back Manufacturer, and an Asmo, then using Cookbook. Draw another land for turn, then we'll cast out our Manufacturer, activate Cookbook, getting 3 tokens, casting out another Asmo, finding a Cookbook, casting Cookbook, activating it, getting another 3 tokens. We'll run our Watery Grave for turn, and pass back to the opponent. And opponent scoops him up. We ended up getting a 3-2 in the league. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.